Imagine being told that your next assignment, the next chapter of your professional life, was not a promotion or a coveted project, but a form of punishment. Imagine a company where failing on a grand, ambitious film meant being relegated to the dungeons, to a project internally dubbed the Gulag. This was the reality at DreamWorks Animation in the late 1990s, where animators who faltered on the epic production of The Prince of Egypt found themselves Shrek'd, banished to work on an unassuming fairy tale adaptation that no one, least of all the studio, believed would ever see the light of day. Yet, this cinematic Siberia would unexpectedly birth one of animation's most enduring and impactful franchises, a personal favorite of many and arguably the better movie of the two. The 1990s belonged to Disney, with a string of hits during its renaissance, films like The Lion King, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast. Disney solidified 2D animation as a global box office force. But as the decade drew to a close, new challengers emerged. Pixar, with its groundbreaking Toy Story in 1995, proved that fully computer-animated films could be both commercially viable and critically acclaimed, hinting at a seismic shift in the industry. DreamWorks Animation, founded in 1994 by Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, and David Geffen, entered this evolving landscape. Studios began pivoting from hand-drawn animation to 3D, though traditional animation remained the standard for serious films until the early 2000s. Jeffrey Katzenberg, a co-founder of DreamWorks, harbored an ambition to elevate animation beyond the realm of traditional musicals. He envisioned The Prince of Egypt as DreamWorks' animated Ben-Hur, a serious, emotionally resonant epic based on the Book of Exodus. Released in 1998, The Prince of Egypt was a visually stunning 2D feature, pushing hand-drawn animation to cinematic, painterly heights. It featured an all-star voice cast including Val Kilmer as Moses and God, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Sandra Bullock. The film also boasted songs by Stephen Schwartz and a score by Hans Zimmer, with When You Believe winning the Oscar for Best Original Song. Despite critical acclaim for its ambition and artistry, The Prince of Egypt underperformed financially, grossing around $218 million worldwide on a $70 million budget. While profitable, it did not rival Disney's biggest hits, leading executives to question the future of 2D animation in the blockbuster space. Its mixed box office reception inadvertently set the stage for a peculiar internal dynamic. Conceived initially as a motion capture and live-action hybrid in 1995, Shrek was based on a 30-page children's book by William Steig. Jeffrey Katzenberg, the project's champion, wanted it to be edgy, a fairy tale satire that would respond to Disney's clean image. However, the early production was plagued with uncertainty. An animation test in 1997 looked terrible. It didn't work, it wasn't funny, and we didn't like it. It was during this period that Shrek gained its notorious reputation. Animators struggling or failing on The Prince of Egypt were reportedly sent to work on Shrek as a disciplinary measure. One animator famously quoted author Nicole Laporte, stating, "It was known as the Gulag. If you failed on Prince of Egypt, you were sent to the dungeons to work on Shrek." Employees even coined the term being Shrek'd to describe this demotion. The film was seen as the studio's ugly stepchild, a low-budget boondoggle unlikely to ever see release. The original voice for Shrek was cast to comedian Chris Farley, who tragically died mid-recording with only 5 days of voice work left. His brother, John Farley, declined to complete the lines. Mike Myers was brought in to replace Chris Farley. After completing his initial voice recordings in 1999, Myers was shown a rough cut of the film in February 2000. It was then that he made a pivotal request to re-record all of his lines with a Scottish accent, similar to how his mother told him bedtime stories. Katzenberg, initially hesitant due to the cost implications, agreed after hearing the alternative, reportedly stating, "It was so good we took $4 million worth of animation out and did it again." However, Myers disputed this figure, claiming it didn't cost the studio millions of dollars and simply meant he recorded for 20 sessions instead of 10 for the same pay. Regardless of the exact cost, this decision proved transformative. Myers' Scottish accent, along with the improvisations from Eddie Murphy as Donkey and the performances by Cameron Diaz as Fiona, brought new life to the characters and infused the script with clearer story points and fresher gags. Steven Spielberg himself reportedly sent a letter to Myers, thanking him so much for caring about the character and stating that the Scottish accent had improved the movie. Released in 2001, Shrek became DreamWorks' first non-Pixar CG film to achieve global hit status, grossing approximately $488 million worldwide on a budget of around $60 million. It proved that CG animation could be edgy, comedic, and appeal to both kids and adults, setting it apart from the often formulaic 2D musicals that audiences were growing tired of by 2000. Shrek's groundbreaking use of pop music instead of original Broadway-style songs was a genre-defining decision. The film's immense success accelerated the animation industry's shift away from 2D almost overnight. CG became the industry standard. Disney itself shuttered its traditional animation department by the mid-2000s, as big-budget 2D films from major U.S. studios like Treasure Planet, Sinbad, and Home on the Range flopped. The ultimate validation for Shrek came in 2002 when the Academy Awards introduced the Best Animated Feature category. Shrek won the inaugural Oscar, cementing its place in cinematic history. This was a significant achievement, marking The Prince of Egypt as the first DreamWorks film to receive an Academy Award, followed by Shrek. The Ugly Stepchild project, once a symbol of punishment, blossomed into a multi-billion-dollar franchise, spawning multiple sequels and spin-offs like Puss in Boots and even a Broadway musical. While The Prince of Egypt remains respected as a serious animated film and one of DreamWorks' best, it was the irreverent, once punishing project, Shrek, that reshaped the animation landscape and became a cultural phenomenon, proving that sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead to the greatest triumphs.